everybody. This is Andrew Greer with CCM Magazine, and again, another edition of Features on Film, and we're here with our friend Michael W. Smith. So good to see you. And
you too.
It's been a long time.
It's been too long.
Yeah. I was thinking 2 records essentially being released simultaneously. So Million Lights and Surrounded. But if I want you to take me back first before we get into that's a lot of something to say. Mm-hmm. But if we go back a year, 2 years ago, I've read that you felt like kind of a loss of your voice of sorts as far as what is the message I have to communicate? Is music the platform to do that through? Take me back to that season and kind of those feelings which led you up to now having these 2 records.
Well, I honestly really think a lot of this had to do with my dad, the passing of my dad, crossing over to the other side. It's been a little over 2 years ago, and still kind of grieving through all that a little bit, and just, you know what, you're never ready to say goodbye to your dad, and it does something to you, and I don't know if I can explain it, but it just sort of makes you reassess life, and it makes you want to aspire to be like your dad, because my dad was amazing, and he finished well, and I'm going, okay, oh my gosh, I'm the next in line.
And now patriarch, right?
Yeah, which is insane a little, and so there's that and processing and all that, and then making sure my mom's good, and then honestly, I didn't really feel like I just didn't feel like I had anything in me really to really write anything else for a while. And I remember going into my team and going, I think I'm just going to take a little break, And I don't know what initially kicked off, because the pop record is really the first thing that really came to mind. But I think it was 2017 was awful. I don't know anybody who said 2017 was incredible. And I'm not talking just politics. I'm just talking everything. Lost loved ones, and even the Smith family. We've had a trial like no other with one of our kids. It's just like, wow. It's just like, and so. But that, and then social media and the bullying thing, and people taking their own lives, it's just awful, And so just one day, man, I just started writing a song, and I think it was a good one. And I'm thinking, and then they just kept coming. And then I thought, I've got something to say. And all of a sudden, I couldn't hit record quick enough.
Yeah. Was that the first time in a while that you felt that kind of energy as far as from a songwriting perspective? Like, my goodness, I am, writing one on the back of another.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 years, probably.
Okay.
I mean, the hymns thing was...
Sure.
That was just another thing, which I loved, but it wasn't me writing songs. Yeah, and I always panic. It happens every few years, and you think, well...
The writer's thing.
It's over. I got to get another job.
Yeah.
It's been a great run, Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, wow, where'd that come from? Wow, where'd that come from? And I kind of feel like I sort of, went to another territory and got on a plane and went to a country far, far away and discovered something, so, because I'm not going to just do the same old. I mean, I'm not going to play it safe.
A million lights hanging on the world tonight. I see him reaching down, dancing on the evening tide. For you, all the stars are singing with you. I'm feeling alive.
I think about like when you're talking about, grieving the loss of your dad, and then, family conflict or challenges, obstacles that's naturally going to come. Especially if you think about the size of your family, the percentage is high. Then, things are going to happen. Life happens. But then you find this renewal with a new batch of songs. Does that come with? I mean, you're still alive. You're still living life and peeling back the layers. I mean, life is a huge mystery, isn't it?
It is a huge mystery.
So is that what continues to drive, you feel like, and motivate? Like, what continues to motivate new ideas? Because you could sit where you're at now rest on laurels, go sing songs you've sung for 25 years to a certain size audience, and they'll be there.
Yeah.
But to continue to push through that to new ideas, new things. I mean, what do you think motivates you specifically in that?
I think this is what I'm made for. And it'd be different if I was tired or sick or I just don't want to do this anymore, you know. And that's not the case. I'm still passionate, probably, you know, maybe more than I ever have been, believe it or not. The reason for that is, well, there's a mystery because there's part of it that I don't know. But I do know a big part of it is that, for the most part, I don't really care what people think anymore. And that is a freeing place. And so to me, then, all of a sudden, this sort of, instead of comparing myself, which is a very, very dangerous place to be, and I've done it. Every artist's done it.
Sure.
It's so easy because everybody wants to be the man. And we're supposed to be the little man. You know, we're supposed to be small.
Yeah.
If God's going to raise us up, we have to be small. So, sort of not caring about what people think, I feel like it's sort of propelled me into like this, I'm going after it.
Yeah.
But going after it, I feel like in a pure way and not to try to prove anything.
You know, you talk about passion, and I think back through your songs, your catalog, and there's a lot of love your neighbor. There's a lot of that kind of element to it. But nothing like you see, and how interesting with this kind of dual release with a very live worship focused record and this kind of songwriter pop record, that both have these strong themes of unity. And you've alluded to like the frustration of social media, etc. But take me down that road, because I don't know that I've heard quite so potent of a set list, and then two set lists that seem to be thriving off of this message of unity.
Yeah, it's a lot to explain. I mean, the 2-record thing, first and foremost, it's a kind of insane idea. Right. You know,
you said it.
Gosh, I can't help but go there. But I'm just going to go to the millennials, you know, and thinking about we're losing something. My mom would always tell me, when I'd have my phone, she would just kind of kid. She'd go, "I'm going to tell you right now, son, this is going to be the downfall of our country." My mom would say that about your phone. But people don't talk anymore, and I feel like we're lacking community because everybody just does this all day, you know. I mean, when you're texting somebody that's in the next room,
right,
it's pretty unbelievable.
We've taken the face off of conversation.
We have.
And so you lack some dialogue, right? I mean, if I think about Facebook or Twitter, any of that, it's me saying what I need to say, but without having to regard who's on the other side of what I'm saying, right?
Exactly.
Shouldn't we as disciples of Jesus be forerunners at the forefront of the conversation about unity in any regard? That could be racial reconciliation.
Yes.
That could be any of the divides. We are a divided society, right? Should we not be? How do we facilitate these conversations, you know?
I think the church should be at the very front of doing that. And I think the pop record, there's a lot of similarities. I know they sound different, but there's these 2 records sort of hold together on some level, and then the unity thing is a big part of that. And if you hear the word, and again, I'm trying not to be judgmental, and I'm trying not to point the finger, but
it's all right.
You know, but I just feel like I'm not sure we got it right.
Yeah, the church.
Yes, and there's a lot of white, and you know, it's so seriously. So you got this, and let's go do the gospel version of that.
Right.
You know, and I know it can be complicated, but to me, it's doable. It's very doable. And if you hear the worship record, you sense every tribe, every nation, every tongue. You've sort of got this soulful kind of thing that's going on, kind of a lot of scatting, but really all on the fly, and just the spirit in the room, just whew, you know, and all of a sudden we're breaking into Spanish, and you know, so, and then back to the pop record, I'm talking about that as well on several songs. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, the church, yes, we need to do better.
Aren't we all somehow a reflection of God?
Absolutely.
So when we are looking out in a diverse setting like the live worship record, and you've got, African Americans, and you've got Hispanics, and you've got different languages happening in the songs and stuff, is this not a direct reflection of our Creator, of who we're saying we're worshiping, but it seems like that we're not comfortable worshiping Him unless we feel familiar with Him. And what I think I've been learning through the racial reconciliation conversation is the things I'm uncomfortable with about someone else, that's just skin deep stuff. I wonder if those are things I'm still uncomfortable with, maybe, that I'm learning about God.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of it, it's pride. Because we like to be in control. And that's why there's lots of space on the surrounded thing, I feel like we always fill in the gap. Just, what did we just sing? We just sang Reckless Love. Let's just pause for a moment and go, oh my gosh, what just happened? Pride, we're not still enough. If you still know that I'm God. Gosh, I could preach on it for 30 minutes.
You can.
Yeah, so.
This is a safe space.
And I feel like I'm a father, and I say that, gosh, I hold that so loosely, because when I think about fathers, I think about Don Finto, the guy who's mentored me.
But you now have those years behind you and experience.
I do. And I'm getting people asking me how you do it and how do I do it right, and maybe that's my role in this next decade, is to sort of model that. And hopefully I can model it well. I've learned a few things. I'm not the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
I make mistakes and still don't get it right every time. But I do think I've gotten wiser. And I do think I know where the pitfalls are. And I can send a friendly warning to my comrades going, bad choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Bad choice, good choice.
It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. 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 This is how, oh yeah. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight. This is how we fight our battles. This is how I fight my 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 battles. Oh yeah.
Music seems to have a way to take all the differences out of the equation. What is it about music? What, in your opinion, in your experience?
It's the most powerful universal language in the world. It's a phenomenon to me. It all goes back to the beginning of time. Look at Scripture, look at the Psalms, and we're going to battle, but we're sending the musicians out first.
Right.
Hello,
Right.
I'm gonna die.
It's a little wide.
And they didn't, And
Yeah, with their harps.
yeah, and a 3.5 minute song completely can change somebody's life forever. I think that's
Phenomenal.
extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then I think about crafting a record, a worship record specifically. We also were talking about this. How do you, when you're thinking about that beforehand, when you're planning a song list and when you're even thinking about the venue and the people singing along, how do you call that live experience together so that someone who, I mean, what a weird thing, right? If you think about someone putting that in their car to essentially have a service, a time
Yeah.
of service, of worship.
Yeah.
How do you craft that? How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you. Let me back up and I'll try to answer this as quick as I can, because I've had all these conversations going. Gosh, am I doing it? Have I done this thing right? There's a passage in Amos 5 that basically I think God's a little ticked off, and he's talking about music and he's saying, "Stop it, stop it." He said, "I'm sick of it." He said, "You know what I want? I want justice. And I want justice to roll like a waterfall." And that absolutely wrecked me. I don't think you can have really true worship unless justice is right alongside of it. So think about all that. Then you go, gosh, do I need to even do anything?
Right.
I want to do the right thing. And so then I started thinking, okay, then I want to take the focus off myself, and I want to do this in the round, and I want to have every race if we can. I mean, bring them all. I was hoping to have the homeless come, and we have a beautiful kid who I love who's handicapped. I kept thinking, what would God's house look like? If
Yeah.
we walked into God's house, what would it look like? Who would be in there? Whew.
Yeah.
Be a lot of different kind of people,
Yes.
And then I want to create a song list that and I didn't care if I write it or not, but every song is will move me, and that we can all sort of do this together. And I think we pulled it off. I mean, I soon found out when we were in the middle of it that I wasn't in charge.
Yeah.
If I could explain the whole night, the whole night's just reminding everyone of the extraordinary promises of God. And they're amazing. And sometimes that's all you need is a reminder to sort of reel you back in and sort of get your feet back on the ground.
Yeah.
So
I was talking with a guest this morning about if we could actually believe, we could receive the truth of God in our life that we are loved unconditionally, no strings attached. If we could receive that as individuals, how we could then be free to share it no matter what.
Right.
No matter what our disagreements are, no matter what my discomfort may be with your choices, no matter where I've been in my past, that we can truly love one another. What do you think our obstacle is? I mean, I hear you talking about this when it's literally in the night of worship, allowing really to be conduits of whatever the Spirit is willing to do, but then the unity that brings. What do you think are some of our obstacles, or what have been your obstacles in actually, because I think that's the hardest thing to do, is to receive the truth that He loves me as is.
Yeah. Well, I think several things. I think first, as we all know, the devil is here to kill, steal, and destroy, and to totally mess with your head, and he will, until the day we die. So there's a battle going on. I think on some level, I think a great level, that there are people who have been hurt. I know there's a way out of that. And, my pastor, Don Fenton, was abused in more ways than I could even talk about. He let God father him. My mom was abandoned when she was 8 years old by my real grandmother. And her 3 younger siblings. My real grandmother drove off and never came back, ever. So my mom could have been bitter for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And she just chose, my mom's amazing. I think she just chose to let God mother her, And so I have a song on the record that deals with, called Forgive, If you can get past that and forgive and be able to let God father you, and then I think you can really fully just know that you're loved. And when that happens, if that happens on a grand scale, I think the world would look different. Because when you know that you're loved, then as you grow in that, then it's not about you. Then your number one goal is to sort of reflect who He is and do things for people. I still got on my mirror my Bob Goff little thing. Love God, love people, and do stuff. That guy does stuff.
I
You
know.
know, let's go up an orphanage. Let's open up a witch doctor's school in Africa. Watch witch doctors come to Christ. You know, so to me, that's the greatest thing about my job. Is I love music, and I love what happens every night, but I love what the platform has allowed me to do. And whether it's compassion or working with Bono on the AIDS thing, or I was at the bridge last month. God, it's like the highlight of my year. Singing over these homeless people and watching 20, 30 homeless people come to Christ that night. That's the cool stuff, But you can't go do that stuff until I think you just know that, man, I'm loved.